Walton. Hey, Bill, you still on the line?
I'm still here, Jonathan. I think Buzz was stuttering like I used to stutter all the time. That's why he couldn't get it out.
Okay, you have Buzz over there. Buzz, say hello to Bill Walton.
Hi, Bill.
I love this book title, Nothing But Net, Give Me the Ball and Get Out of My Way.
It's all about overcoming adversity in my life in basketball, the people that have affected me, and the events that have shaped my life.
Can I give you my Bill Walton story?
Sure.
Bill Walton, I'm watching the Bucks play in Milwaukee live. This is now, you got to think, Bill Walton, folks, everybody, you were a little bit out there at the time, especially for Midwesterners. They're watching you.
I've always been mainstream.
Yeah.
It's been the other people that have been out in right field the whole way.
But here's what it was. We're watching the game. We're in the stadium. And I must have been, 8th grade, 9th grade. I don't know what it was, but there was a guy in front of me. You know how that you have when you're playing ball, you have that guy that just yells things at the players all the time?
All right.
This was one of these guys.
My favorite type of guy.
You're playing a game, you come up and you trip and you fall down, and the guy stands up in the middle of the stadium and goes, "That's what you get for eating those frickin' acorns!" I thought, this is Milwaukee at its finest. That was my Heckler Bill Walton story.
You have to realize, Jonathan, that was a period where I was one of the first athletes to really be into nutrition, and I find it highly amazing and unusual that an athlete would be who was trying to improve himself through nutrition would then get criticized and ridiculed. But that's all right. I had a great time, and there's nothing more fun than when the fans are all over your case and they're booing you and they're throwing things at you and the referees are cheating you. You're out there on the road, you and your 11 buddies on your team, and you're just kicking the Milwaukee Bucks' ass all over the court.
But wouldn't you ever want to, at one point while you're playing, and you played a lot of places, just to get up there and just go, "Hey, come here, buddy. Come on over here for 1 second. What are you hassling me for?"
Those kind of guys fire me up. And it was so great when I finally joined the Celtics and all my luck really turned around. And I got on the Celtics and they started picking on McHale and Ainge. I was like all of a sudden the nice guy.
Yeah.
In that crew, they used to show up at the games with Frankenstein masks on and Kevin McHale jerseys. Kevin, of course, looking like the doctor. Danny Ainge is the perfect teammate to have because he is a constant foil for every barb you could possibly use.
Do you know, Bill, I was wondering if you were at Jerry Garcia's wedding. I know what kind of a deadhead you are.
That is as much part of my life as anything else. I've been to over 600 shows, but no, I was unfortunately not able to attend Jerry's wedding. I was working in Portland, Oregon that day. I was the MC, can you believe me, the MC of a banquet.
When you talk about the dead in the book, do you talk about that trip you took
the trip to
Egypt? Is that in the book?
We talk about traveling and partying with the dead, having a great time, and going to all the shows, and just what it's like to be a deadhead, and how proud I am to be not only their fan, but their friend.
Bill, what do you think of Michael Jordan?
I think he's going to kill him in baseball.
But you did say something, Bill, about Michael Jordan that I thought was great. You were talking about how these guys, they're playing ball. Here's Jordan playing in the playoffs, and then Barkley and he are out golfing the same day. I hated watching that. Here they are in the playoffs. You should be after each other's throats, and then they're golfing the next day. I don't like that. I hate that in sports.
That makes me sick.
That makes me sick.
That is disgusting. It sucks. If we were ever going to go over to Michael Jordan's restaurant, it would have been to trash the place.
Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't have been to go. Now, we would have had dinner.
Sure.
We would have ran up a gigantic bill. We would have brought in everybody off the street, all the homeless people, sat them down at the head table, and then signed Michael Jordan's name and walked out.
You would have brought all the homeless people from the area, sat them down. That to me, is much better than golfing with the guy. You're supposed to be ripping his throat out. You're supposed to be winning a championship game. That's the way it's supposed to be.
The emotional fire and commitment that you need to be great, that Michael Jordan had. I think that Jordan was actually psyching all these guys out by bringing them in and trying to soften them up. So
hey, you know what they say?
Try to come at him.
Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies close. The Godfather. Am I right? Am I right?
That's right.
Bill Walton has something to say to former President Richard Nixon. Bill?
I was arrested in the anti-Vietnam War demonstrations back in the 70s when I was at UCLA, and John Wooden, our great coach, was so disappointed and depressed about my activity. He pulled me aside and said, "Bill, you really shouldn't do this. If you really, really want to have an effect on things, write letters." So I go, "Yeah, sure, Coach, that'll really work." So I took his advice. I went in and I got some UCLA basketball stationery with all the championship banners across the top of the page. And I scripted a beautifully prosed letter outlining all Nixon's crimes against humanity And at the bottom of the letter, I asked him to resign, and I thanked him in advance for his cooperation.
President's Day.
And he responded. Ultimately, he
Well,
responded.
wait a second. Let me
Yes.
finish this story.
Yes.
All the guys in the team signed this letter on the UCLA stationery, and then I take it into the locker room to Coach Wooden, and I say, Coach, you asked us to write letters. I wrote one. Would you please sign this so I can send it on? So he said, sure, Bill, what do you got here? So he takes it in his hand and looks at it, and you can just see the knuckles turning white in his hand, and he wants to crumple up this paper, and he's looking at the UCLA basketball stationery it's written on. He can't believe what I've done here. He doesn't crumple up the paper. He doesn't throw it away, but he looks at me with those sad and soft eyes as if I've really, really let him down this time. I said, Bill, I can't sign this, and I really don't want you to send it. Well, sure enough, I sent the letter in, and what do you know? A couple weeks later, Nixon resigned.
See, there it is.
It did work.
Memories of the president's past with Bill Walton.
It did work. So all you listeners, write letters.
Bill Walton.
BrandmeierShow.com.